When Icelandic GA pilots fly, where do they go? And what do they do? The famously changeable, often region-specific weather has a big influence. But if the weather's flyable, as it often is in late summer, they fly. Somewhere. Pilots usually fly every good weekend, visiting Iceland's many grass strips. Most of these pilots are based at the Reykjavik downtown airport and fly from there across some of the wildest terrain imaginable. Volcanoes, glaciers, high-altitude lakes, cinder cones, and huge outwash plains from glacial meltwater slide by as they cruise along. Some experienced pilots have been known to land at remote strips. Or explore glaciers up close and personal. When we were in Iceland, we went to 2 annual fly-ins. One was at a grass airstrip in the center of the country, where a fly-in community was holding its annual dinner. An event that highlighted the closeness and variety of the Icelandic pilot community. And talk about weather. It was blowing as hard as 50 to 60 knots. Some couldn't land, or taxi very well if they did land, where some heavy-duty tie-down gear was waiting for them. Others made a game of zero ground speed flying into the wind. Our other stop was at the Múlakat Airport, another grass strip, this one having a fly-in sponsored by AOPA Iceland. And yet another fly-in community adjoins the strip. So do a couple of dormant volcanoes and terrain featuring scenic waterfalls. Many flew in, some in vintage airplanes, some in experimental category airplanes, some in retired Icelandair classics, but most in American-built Cessnas and Pipers. Rides over the nearby scenery were given, and so were flybys and aerobatic displays. A large camping area sprang up, erected by entire families who had come to see the sights. The week before, there was a benefit for child cancer patients. This week, there was a candy drop, much anticipated by young and old alike. You get the impression that every pilot in Iceland knows each other. Maybe it's because Iceland's relatively small population has what's said to be the highest number of pilots per capita. Or maybe it's just plain tradition. Either way, the goal is to have fun and expose more people to general aviation flying. So at grass strips like these, it's like a weekly party/reunion, and one of the greatest sights and experiences any pilot could hope for. Tom Horn, AOPA Live.